Hello everyone, Ryan here. So the Motel Life, the movie adaptation. Of course, it's a movie adaptation of a novel by the same name, which I also reviewed. And if you'd like to check out my book review of the Motel Life by Willy, Vlautin, I'll provide a link to that down below. But I also wanted to review the movie as well. Of course, originally I did see the movie first back when it first came out. And that's mostly because I had no idea that it was based on a novel. Well, actually, there's a lot of movies that I end up watching that ultimately, I end up having no idea that they're based on novels. And I do remember, this was my second time watching the movie adaptation of the Motel Life. And I remember the first time I saw it, I liked it a lot. I guess supposedly because I had never seen another movie quite like it before. I would venture to say that still today I haven't seen a lot of other movies that are quite like it still to this day. I mean, there may be some that are of a similar vein or style, but not exactly like this. Of course, in the movie, it stars Emile Hirsch and Stephen Dorff. Emile Hirsch, he plays the youngest brother, Frank. Stephen Dorff is the oldest, Jerry Lee. And they both give very interesting performances. I would say pretty thorough. I don't know exactly if they prepared thoroughly for the roles or not, or I'm pretty sure they did at least read the novel. Maybe they read it more than a couple times or so. I would say as far as their performances are concerned, they definitely got it down. They did it right. For me, my biggest complaint, I guess, with the movie is that, of course, after reading the novel and then rewatching the movie, right away I was able to tell that they cut out a lot of stuff, a lot of details. They shortened certain aspects of the story, which I figured they would. That always seems to be the case with movie adaptations of novels, and they condense a lot of stuff. And I guess maybe once in a while, sometimes a movie adaptation ends up being just as good as a novel. But for the most part, I feel like usually it ends up being unfulfilling in some kind of way. So that's how I feel about the movie adaptation of the Motel Life. As far as like the other performances in the movie, like Dakota Fanning is in it, Chris Christopherson, but they don't have big parts. Though I will say, I guess to be fair, Chris Christopherson, he did a pretty decent job too, as well. But ultimately, this movie is just about the two brothers, Frank and Jerry Lee, just like with the novel, and it's just them struggling to deal with everyday life, and they've had a rough childhood, rough young adulthood, and just trying to deal with things as they come in the best way that they know how. And of course they go on the run because Jerry Lee, he accidentally ran into this kid. This kid came out of nowhere, seemingly nowhere, ran into the hood of his car, and they have no idea what happened to this kid. But they freak out, they panic, so they leave the area, they leave Reno. They eventually go back to Reno, But before that, along the way, I wouldn't say they really like have any kind of like very drastically, like nothing kind of like huge happens along the way. It's just more like, I guess, more them talking to each other, discussing what it is they should do or should not do, and then of course also too, Frank, he tells Jerry Lee a bunch of stories that he makes up. The biggest thing I like about the movie, though, is that you get to see these stories come to life because they have these animated versions of. So every time when Frank tells one of his stories to Jerry Lee, then you get to see the story come to life as like some kind of short animated thing. Though I'm pretty sure it'd be safe to say that some people might find these short cartoons, short animated things, to be highly misogynistic. Because I mean, the whole point is, Frank, he's trying to cheer up Jerry Lee, who's in a very depressed state of mind, negative state of mind. And so, yeah, in these stories he makes up, there's a lot of beautiful women in them. There's even, beautiful naked women, So that's depicted in the movie version and the cartoons, these animated versions of Frank's stories, which feature a lot of beautiful women. And so I don't know, I mean, I guess if you're offended by animated nudity, then you probably won't like most of this movie. But still, I like that aspect of the movie, because you really don't get that from the novel. Although I would still say that I prefer the novel. Pretty much, I prefer the novel over the movie. Like if somebody told me to choose between the novel, The Motel Life, or the movie, I'm gonna pick the novel. But yeah, again, that's not to say that, Emil Hirsch, Steven Dorff, they do give pretty good performances. Actually, I remember after I saw the movie, it got me thinking about, like, as far as, like, the movie rights are concerned, I don't know, I wonder how much the author, Willy Vlautin, how much he got, when he sold the movie rights. I don't know, or if, he worked out some other kind of deal, and must have been a significant amount. So I don't know, it's my understanding, like recently I saw somewhere on Twitter that Willy Vlautin, he's got another novel coming out soon, I believe like in less than a month or something. And he also plays in a band. I want to say, I'm not exactly sure what kind of music they play, like folksy, poppy kind of stuff. I don't know. I briefly heard a sample of his band's music, and so yeah, I guess pretty soon he's going to start doing a press tour for his new novel that will be coming out soon. So it'd be interesting to see that, how well his new novel does. I would actually look forward to reading that, obviously, and reviewing it. And so, but I mean, as far as the movie adaptation is concerned, I'm going to give it. I gotta give it a solid 8 out of 10. I'll say at the lowest, I would give it as like 7.5. But solid 8, definitely. Again, I didn't like that so much of the story was condensed, reworked a little bit, but that's to be expected. So yeah, a solid 8 out of 10. So that'll do it for my review of Motel Life, the movie adaptation of the Motel Life, and that'll do it. Thanks for watching, and as always, till next time, don't forget, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.